Good evening, friends. We start with Russia taking decisive action in responding to the U.S. expelling 60 Russian diplomats and closing the Russian consulate in Seattle. Russia will expel the same number of American diplomats and close the American consulate in St. Petersburg. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov said Russia will always make mirror responses to these type of diplomatic actions.
Retaliation measures include the expulsion of the same number of U.S. diplomats and withdrawal of our consent for the U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg. As far as other states are concerned, we will always give a mirror response.
For more, we're joined by former U.S. diplomat Jim Jatras. Jim, nice to have you with us tonight. It is safe to say that relations between Russia and the United States have not been this cold in decades. It was an expected tit for tat, but when is this going to stop? What's it going to take to stop this back and forth?
Honestly, Ed, I can't say. I think what we would have to see is a collapse domestically here in the United States of this whole Russiagate collusion narrative and a cleaning out of the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA, and the people who have been behind this campaign from the beginning to undermine relations between Moscow and Washington and to destabilize the Trump administration. I don't know if that's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, I don't see anything that's going to keep us from going down this road farther and farther, and it could become extremely dangerous.
It seems now it's really become a political cry on Capitol Hill to oppose Russia so these lawmakers don't have to go home and face a commercial that maybe they're too soft on Russia. Is that playing into it?
You know, I'm not sure it is, Ed, because to tell the truth, I don't think this has much legs with the public. We've seen polls where all this Russia coverage by the media is not reflected in polls about what public concerns are. So I don't know that there's anything really at the grassroots that is driving this. This seems to be something solely within the political class here in Washington, where the establishment has set a certain line and nobody wants to deviate from it.
There's a school of thought that Russia is going to be invading the Baltic states. I mean, Boris Johnson in the UK he's off the rails. What's it going to take to reel in and bring some reality to some of these people that stake their political careers on how tough they can be on the Kremlin?
Well, Ed, this is where I do somewhat question the Russian response, which is proportionate, tit for tat, mirror image, as Mr. Lavrov said. That allows the people who are on this side, and I think from Washington, London, and so forth, this is pure provocation. This is pure political warfare, and allows them to continue these initiatives and know exactly what the response is going to be. I think the Russians need to respond asymmetrically in a way that imposes some pain on these countries, starting with Great Britain, which I think is one of the real drivers behind this.
The president today, speaking about infrastructure in the state of Ohio, apparently, this must have been kicked into the speech somewhere, I say that facetiously, he announced a new policy decision for Syria. Here it is.
And by the way, we're knocking the hell out of ISIS. We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. Let the other people take care of it now.
How's that for an announcement? I mean, he's winging it across the board. What do you think?
Look, I think inside President Trump is a tiny little candidate, Trump, fighting to get out and stick to what he said during the campaign, and he's fighting against the entire team that he himself assembled. He says, as he promised during the campaign, destroy ISIS, get out of Syria. Has he asked General Mattis if he's going to be allowed to do that? We have a dozen illegal bases in Syria. They're not there to fight ISIS. They're there to counter the Iranians. And then, of course, bringing John Bolton on board indicates we're going to go further down that direction. I think this is what he really wants to do. Unfortunately, he seems to be the only one in his administration who feels that way.
Jim Jatras, always a pleasure. Great to have you with us tonight. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.